In 2009, a post was made to Reddit announcing the passing of a well-known user known as Religion of Peace, a moderator of the now-banned subreddit Jailbait, where lewd photos of teenage girls were posted. Surprisingly, this led down a rabbit hole of the mysterious website that baffled many, Lake City Quiet Pills. The post sharing the news of his demise read, "Milo died today. He was 79 years old. He died at his desk looking at your site. Milo was a mean old fucker, mean and orny. He hooked me up with my first gig when I got out of the army. I didn't like finding him like that. Milo didn't have any living relatives and no real friends, other than his landlady and a few people where he worked. He didn't talk to anyone about much of anything. Me, he just tolerated. As I said, he was mean. I think he used that as a shield to keep people away from him. Milo thought God was some kind of game thought up by some lazy sons of bitches who didn't want to work every day. So he's going into the fire on Monday without a service, just like he wanted. I'm planning to dump his ashes in the woods in Pennsylvania, near where he was born. Can't put them right there, 'cause there's a mall now. I gave the girl next door his raggedy old cat and most of his books. His computers and tronic shit he tagged for the disabled vets in the VVA. All the rest of the stuff is for the Salvation Army. All those years and everything he owned fits in the trunk of my car. I don't know what else to say. I'll miss him, miserable bastard." His friend publicly posted the location of where Milo's ashes were spread, near Lake Heritage, Pennsylvania, with the claim that his family once owned the land, though by 2009 a mall was built there. Users were able to find the Lake City Quiet Pills website as he mentioned it several times in his comments, saying, "I can think of any number of criminal organizations that would benefit from a dose of Lake City Quiet Pills." By the summer of 2009, the website mostly contained lewd images of young women. Many people gave it very little attention, merely using it as a storage location for pictures posted to Reddit, though it was mostly used by the Jailbait subreddit at the time to host photos. Other subs began to join. Most thought the story would end here. A buddy made an account to inform others of the passing of a Reddit user who many grew fond of over the years he was on the site. Though, with this, a mystery began, with people eager to solve it as they started investigating the evidence left by these two Reddit accounts, Religion of Peace and his friend's new account, which was created that day. Over the course of the following several months, Redditors started to learn a story that was equally mysterious as it was fascinating. Those interested in uncovering more were able to find a username that was similar to the friend's, which was just 2-6. The user they found, Angel26, has posted comments on Fark, a predecessor to websites like Reddit, as early as 2001. The email connected to this account was angel.2.6 at lakecityquietpills.com. The domain proving this account was truly associated with the Religion of Peace. This user had primarily used Fark in discussion regarding guns and weapons, similar to Religion of Peace, who, when not moderating pornographic subs, would post about weapons. This individual appeared to have served in the military in the past and mainly talked about violence and shooting in his posts. In the earlier days of forum posts, it was standard for individuals' comments to be followed by a motto. This user's particular slogan was, "Dispensing Lake City Quiet Pills to lousy bastards in need of permanent rest since 1968. Even though the puzzle pieces were beginning to connect, very little still made sense. These two individuals appeared to be the same, or were they just old pals with several connections tracing back years? The identical spelling and grammar errors across both accounts lead us to believe that the usernames 2-6 on Reddit and Angel2-6 on Fark were the same person, but they consistently put the apostrophe after the O when typing the word don't instead of after the end where it is grammatically correct. They used the N-O spelling for no as in knowledge. They also spelled a number of other simple terms incorrectly, such as tolerated and friend. If it weren't real, it would be difficult to maintain that degree of idiocy over numerous accounts for years. And what would the purpose of doing so be? Many Redditors were convinced that everything was fake for several months after 2-6 announced the passing of his friend, possibly even more likely a marketing gimmick to promote the website Lake City Quiet Pills. If so, it was effective. More people were visiting the site than ever before. Numerous others had visited Religion of Peace's Reddit history after learning of his passing, and more people than ever were hosting images on Lake City Quiet Pills website. However, when more tech-savvy visitors arrived at the website, they started investigating its source code. They would discover what appeared to be buried messages there, stretching back months or years, which revealed a fascinating story developing beneath this internet drama. On the surface, Lake City Quiet Pills appeared to be little more than a website that featured thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of pornographic photos. But something quite different was concealed in the website's code. Shade is maintaining the calendar and access to the file dump. Angel has the job postings for EU and Asia. We aren't sending anyone to ME. No one. Don't ask for listings. ME is speculated to be the Middle East, and at this point of the investigation, Shade is a name we haven't yet heard before. There are several of these hidden messages that were obviously not intended for public viewing, hidden in the HTML coding on this website. The top described who had access to what information appeared to be job postings that outlined qualifications that sounded suspiciously like assassin employment. Read afterwards. Immediate need, 8 to 10, Chinese or Korean. Fluent Korean dialect or accent. Details after contact. 12-week half pay, sequester on refusal. 2 ground types, fluent Arabic, French. No papers, no problems. Need formed group, 8 to 10, single op, delib bonus, gentleman's agreement, insurance, immediate need. They appeared large served just like military contractors, and these are just a few examples. Perhaps not mercenaries or assassin employment, but bodyguards and defense contractors. These are only a few of the many postings like these that were concealed in the HTML code of Lake City Quiet Pills. These postings included acronyms in several instances. Some like CCW, which stands for Concealed Carry Weapons Permit, look simple enough to understand. Others, however, continue to be a source of debate, such as W/W, which some people interpreted to imply wishes or warrants in a certain area, such as United States or Mexico. Others think W/W stood for wet work, which, as you can easily assume, denotes cleaning. It has always seemed strange to call a website Lake City Quiet Pills. What does this mean? To answer this, Redditors started mentioning a weapons factory run by the government headquartered in Independence, Missouri, established by Remington Guns in 1941 under the name Lake City Ammunition Plant. It produces and tests small firearms for the U.S. military. The Lake City Arsenal continues to be the single largest producer of small weapons ammunition for the U.S. Armed Forces, manufacturing about 1.4 billion rounds of ammunition annually. The name of this plant doesn't appear to be coincidental, although it is uncertain whether there is any relation between it and the website Lake City Quiet Pills. Many now think the website's name inspired by the arsenal, hinting that quiet pills are bullets produced at this plant. The statements buried inside the HTML code of the website remained in the months following Religion of Peace's supposed demise. On the same day his passing was reported on Reddit, an unidentified person posted this note in a secret message board. I am sorry to tell you that old Milo died yesterday. He went quiet and calm, not like we all figured. He gave that mangy cat of his to the little girl next door. No services or nothing. You know Milo. I'm taking his ashes back to where his farm was, close to it anyway. There's a mall where his place was. So hoist a few back for the old man. Remember what he said. Keep with the man who's got your back. Based on a couple grammatical errors in this post, it being the same story as the Reddit post, it was likely uploaded by Angel26. 2 months later, the same person posted, "For those who have asked, I bricked Milo's iron key the same day. All is well." This message's meaning is actually quite easy to discern. An iron key is an encrypted hard drive. Bricking a device effectively makes it worthless. ACT destroys it and all of the data it contains. By concluding the message with the phrase "all is well," this user is hinting that there was potentially damaging data on Milo's hard drive, which no longer exists. 2 weeks after this, Angel posted, "Milo's will cleared probate. Surprise, Milo was loaded. Email Shade if we sent you out in 2005 to 2009. Shade will have checks cut for you. Amount is by how many times, not by pay total. Small share is 3 to 4,000. It appears that Milo, whoever they were, left behind some savings, which he was now dispersing among co-workers. Posted in January 2010, "Happy New Year, everyone. We're having a birthday party for the old man on the 19th. Party starts 1500 at the usual. Send your RSVP to Shade. FYI, we're booking a room for 3 days for anyone coming from out of the area, and overnight for locals. Come hoist one for Dutch Milo." This post appears to be very harmless, just like everything else connected to Lake City Quiet Pills. A birthday celebration for someone who brought so many people together almost sounds familial. Many people, however, have taken this article to indicate something very different. Some have attempted to connect this gathering, this supposed party, to one of the most complex assassinations of the century, the assassination of Muhammad al-Mabhouh, which took place the same day the party was scheduled, January 19th, 2010. As a young adult, he ran into legal issues that led to a short imprisonment. Al began developing relationships with Hamas, the group that calls for the establishment of a Palestinian state. Soon after he was released from prison in the 1980s, although it is widely regarded as a terrorist group, the Gaza Strip has been governed by it for more than 10 years. Al continued to advance within Hamas despite serving time in an all-Egyptian jail and coming to the attention of the Jordanian intelligence. He was overseeing the military wing's logistics and weapons purchases in the middle of the 2000s and was a key player in the growing alliance between Hamas and the Iranian Revolutionary Guards. As a result, Al became a target. Several assassination attempts near the end of the early 2000s were made against him. The first attempt failed, a car bomb. The second approach was more complex. Al was the target of a poisoning attempt by an elite team in Dubai in November 2009. Al became suspiciously unwell but survived the unidentified chemical, which may have been poured into a drink or applied to hotel room fixtures. Without realizing he had been poisoned, Al recovered from the illness. He carried on with his usual security preparations as he was unaware of the second attempt on his life. Although he was based in Syria, he frequently went throughout the Middle East to conduct business on behalf of the Hamas. He typically used pseudonyms and passports, and he frequently traveled with a group of security personnel. Was unaware, but his computer that he used to plan his travels had a security breach, giving third-party access to his transactions. He made hotel reservations at least 2 days in advance of early January 2010 and booked a trip to Dubai. He was not going to have bodyguards accompany him on this trip. They would arrive the following day. Al would be alone in a foreign country for at least 24 hours. With this knowledge, someone started planning their own travel arrangements. Al arrived in Dubai on January 19, 2010. He was traveling alone, using an alias, and without any security personnel. His journey had been preceded by a small group of men and women earlier that day. Approximately 24 people entered Dubai using their own fake identities and passports. They started coordinating their searches for Al. He had booked a room without a balcony and sealed windows to ensure the only way in was through the door, as a safety precaution. Though this was futile, as a network of assassins began to follow Al as soon as he landed in Dubai, following him from the airport to a taxi, then to the hotel where he was staying. All of the local motels he had stayed at before his trip had been checked into by half-dozen operatives before his arrival. In order to find out which room he was staying in, they needed to be sure they had their bases covered. They were likely waiting in the lobbies of all the hotels, knowing every detail about each one, waiting for him to arrive.
The hotel security cameras show a bald-headed man police call the team leader arriving, traveling on a fake Irish passport under the name of Kevin Devereaux. When the one woman on the hit squad checks in, she has dark hair, but she had arrived at the airport with blonde hair, also traveling on a fake Irish passport under the name Gail Folliard. Cameras at shopping malls and other hotels in Dubai caught the remaining members of the team, arriving in small groups on the first day, 11 in all.
This was very well planned. Security footage showed these agents, who totaled about a dozen, following Al from a distance. At least twice, these men and women would use the restroom to quickly modify their appearance, put on wigs, or change clothes. One agent waits in the lobby and starts using an electronic device to report to the other operatives as Al heads to his hotel room. The other operatives, who were all staying at hotels in the area, started to gather here at this time, pretending that he is returning to his own hotel room. One of the men follow Al to find the room he is staying in. One of the supposed leaders calls from a neighboring hotel after receiving the room number. He asks for room 237, which is the one that is right across the hall from Al. The other operatives would use this as their base of operations and would start to gather in that room. Soon after, Al would leave his room and go to a neighboring shopping center. Their security monitoring his whereabouts would decline, but a few of these unidentified spies followed him the entire time. Although it's purely speculation, it was said that he was meeting with some local contacts. The operatives would gather in room 237, using this opportunity to start breaking into the electronic lock on his door, devising a technique to enter Al's room covertly. Again, security cameras have recorded everything. As another hotel guest exits a nearby elevator, one of the agents tries to divert them while the other continues to work, and they quickly break the door's lock. Around 8:30 p.m., Al continues back to the room, seemingly with no suspicions. He enters, utterly ignorant that there are a few people inside waiting for him. About 20 minutes later, the personnel in room 230 start to leave and go back to room 237. They quickly exit the motel one at a time, all carrying their possessions. Nearly all of these men and women have departed Dubai in less than 4 hours, with flights all over the world. Al, on the other hand, stayed in his hotel room. He missed a call from his wife about the time the assassins were leaving his room, and his body would not be found until the next morning, or about 12 hours after he had been assassinated. The door had been locked from the inside. When the hotel workers checked on Al the following morning, the chain was also in use, which the assassins had somehow managed to lock from the outside. This made the passing appear natural. Investigators initially observed that the death was due to natural causes. Afterwards, an extended examination showed that there is nothing normal about this man's demise. This had been a well-planned assassination. Al had received an injection prior to his passing of a fast-acting muscle relaxant that paralyzed him. The police noted Al fought to resist, but was unsuccessful despite being awake throughout the events. He was electrocuted, though his official method of death was suffocation with a pillow. This would make it appear as though he had passed naturally when it was discovered, at least long enough for the assassins to flee the crime scene. Due to the security camera footage retrieved from the area, Dubai officials were able to retrace the assassins' movements on the day of the crime. It demonstrated that all of these agents had arrived only a short time earlier on January 19th. Additionally, they had all gone soon after their plan was executed. Now, it was discovered this wasn't their first time there. Nearly all of these men and women had traveled to Dubai frequently in the months before this assassination, with their same fake passports, possibly as test runs to familiarize themselves with the hotels and fastest routes between places. All the operatives in this network were traveling on fake passports, the majority of which were from Western countries. This included the UK, Ireland, Australia, France, and Germany, which were now involved in the crime. Additionally, a few of these agents had called a number in Austria who may have been their coordinator. Many of these assassins used a form of prepaid credit card that was branded in the U.S. However, some used cash to pay for their travel. The CEO of the prepaid credit card company has connections with Israel. It would make sense that Israel was involved in some way, since the victim was an influential member of Hamas who had been a long-time target of their intelligence services. There were 18 agents named, but it was unclear who they were. We only have the aliases they used. Interpol would release images of 11 of these operatives, and to this day no one has been able to identify them. These agents, who range in age from 18 to 28, have mysteriously vanished despite the fact that 11 of their faces have been made available to international press and nearly the whole civilized world. Shortly after the crime, 2 Palestinian men who were living in Jordan at the time were detained. They were later extradited to the United Arab Emirates. Instead of being charged as assassins, both were described as middlemen who assisted in setting up lodging for the numerous agents involved. However, they had been accused and found guilty in a secret court, with the specifics of their conviction remaining confidential. Since their arrests, both have been living in the UAE, suggesting that their penalty was essentially non-existent. In June 2010, a second individual with the nickname Brodsky was detained in Poland. He was then extradited to Germany to face charges for crimes connected to this assassination. He was shortly released on bond, and his current whereabouts are completely unknown, like the other assassins. Despite being one of the most prominent assassinations of the modern age, questions about who was responsible remain unsolved. That was a lot of information, and honestly, at this point, I forgot what I was originally discussing. To remind both myself and you, the Lake City Quiet Pills website had hidden HTML code. A message was distributed on January 12, 2010, which was just a week before the assassination took place in Dubai. That message announced an event to celebrate Milo's birthday, also known as Religion of Peace, a Reddit user who had passed away the year before. The coded information from Lake City Quiet Pills stated that the party began at approximately 1500 hours, which closely corresponded to the time when Al Mubhud was on a plane to Dubai. The day before the assassination, another message was distributed, as if this weren't enough. The message was similarly concealed within the HTML of the website. We got 38 rooms in the Marriott on 46. Shade has the key cards for locals. Pick up at the party. Give your travel name to the desk, and that's it. No ID needed since we're covering the bill. Keep the room service under 500. The phones there are not secure. Bus from the hotel leaves at 1:30. Car service vouchers for the return trip when you're ready to crash. Don't DUI. These guidelines sound strange for a party. Who should be concerned about using a travel name at a birthday celebration? Why worry about unreliable phone lines? The final reminder to avoid a DUI is unnecessary to tell most adults. It would make more sense when suggesting it implied any legal entanglements might be complicated. There have been many attempts to interpret what this might have meant, but the numerous hotel rooms to provide the most direct clue. I have sadly never been to a party, though I am not aware of any that would need 38 hotel rooms. For the following few weeks, there was no apparent activity on Lake City Quiet Pills, at least nothing related to this subject. The site continued to operate as a photo dump containing photographs that were largely obscene in nature, until 2 weeks later. Here's the final for the party, rounded for simplicity. Hotel rooms, 48,000, limo, 6,000, bus, 570, bar bill, 19,000, food, 8,000, dancers, 8,300, miscellaneous tips, 850, miscellaneous expenses, 2,800, med supplies, 180. Fat Tammy and Stu are okay too. Total 94,080. You all did Dutch Milo proud. Thanks. All these likely being codes for other things. The only one making sense is the hotel. Till about the spring of 2010, or about 2 months after Muhammad Al Mubhud's murder, assassin job advertising persisted. Then curious Redditors started digging through the website's source code, discovered that these odd hidden messages, this had all been happening beneath the surface up until that point. Redditors who found this source code started publishing links to it. Others attempted to decipher the hidden meaning of the multiple acronyms used, such as W-W. Others started to connect the timing of the many posts with global events, such as the assassination of Al Mubhud. Nearly immediately after this, the coding for Lake City Quiet Pills was altered and encrypted. Messages that were simple to read turned into a confusing string of numbers and symbols. Redditors tried to decrypt that, but it was encrypted once again and was too complicated to translate. The website was abruptly pulled offline due to the new site's curator's decision to switch to a different host. The intrigue had only begun, even though the website once known as Lake City Quiet Pills was permanently deleted. Many people now think Lake City Quiet Pills is just a scam or possibly a game. Years after this internet mystery first surfaced, some think it was a well-planned prank to make the individuals famous online. It seems like a lot of work to leave hidden messages to possibly be discovered, then instantly shut down the site after it was found if they had only wanted to trick everyone. To create all those online accounts, make sporadic posts and comments would have taken years. Others claim that this has the potential to be an alternate reality game. ARGs frequently use the internet to produce strange, challenging puzzles. This makes sense because these ARGs have a history of suggesting some sort of cover-up or conspiracy. Why would someone devote years of their life to design an extremely complex challenge only to shut it down as soon as someone finds it? That is not logical at all. Anyone who creates something wants other people to see it, so taking down the website just as it started to get some attention or deleting it could be a tactic to make people question it more. Is it possible that Lake City Quiet Pills has garnered too much attention than it is worth? Though how likely is it that this all was a hoax? Perhaps the most plausible explanation is that Lake City Quiet Pills was a website created to serve as a job board for former military members. They probably chose to recruit from a group of friends rather than network and compete against hundreds of others. It's conceivable that the majority of this labor was contract-based, such as security and bodyguards, who frequently offered protection to businesses and corporate executives. Many have been working on this investigation over the years, hoping that a hidden clue here or there will offer some sort of resolution to the strange internet mystery. However, not much that is noteworthy has occurred since the website was taken offline. Some have attempted to connect the incompleted anonymous parties with real persons, including the mysterious Angel26. Some Reddit users claim to have found Shade, who was supposed to manage the calendar and controlled access to the file dump. They said that he was a man named Oscar who passed in 2015, but that was only speculation. Religion of Peace, whose alleged demise started this whole affair, is the most renowned person at the center of this weird story. Others, meantime, have made it their mission to research his background, trying to find records of a recently deceased individual named Milo. Many of this person's comments, at least in terms of time frame, didn't appear to make sense. As these web sleuths have noted, he stated he was born in 1930. And that he was 79 years old when he passed away. However, some Redditors found a 2007 comment from him in which he claimed to be just 70. He also claims to have left the military in 1948. If all this information is factual, that would make him only 15. Though more intriguing, in the comments he said it would be 70 in July. Though January was said to be his birth month, his birthday party celebration was even in January. Either he didn't know his own birthday, or his friends who hosted the party for him were wrong about the date. This lowers the credibility of Religion of Peace. Though it is possible he told his friends an incorrect birth date, decreasing the amount of personal information they knew about him to maintain his privacy. Likely went in an illegal field of work. Moving on, we aren't just covering one website today. Laughing Horse Orifice Headquarters. Quite a strange name for a business. The website hosts a number of unusual pages with unsettling images that make references to occultism and government conspiracies. Given the information provided, some people assume it is a honeypot that includes illicit files, while others assume that it is a type of online art project. The website is regarded as an online mystery and occasionally loosely as an ARG. When Pizzagate was at its most well-known, LHOHQ was recognized by online groups. Since then, speculations regarding how the site functions have been put forth, including the use of AI. The first record of the site appears to be from June 12, 2007, when identical posts were made to the boards above Top Secret and BlizzHackers. The fact that both posts were made under the aliases Alex M and Alex-M suggests that they were both made by the same person. The post read, "Today, while walking down the street with friends, I discovered a sheet of paper with a strange symbol on it, taped to the side of a small billboard. For whatever reason, it struck me as extremely weird, so I pocketed it with the hopes of discovering what it meant. Is it a riddle? Just a symbol? I have no idea, but hopefully someone here will recognize something from it." Included pictures, but unfortunately they are no longer available, which makes the mystery even more frustrating to solve. He writes that on the bottom of the hexagon is a cobra inside a circle. In the center of the pentagon maze is an eye. Around the outside of the hexagon are the letters H, Q, L, H, and O, in that order. He asks, has anyone ever seen anything like this? I guess what strikes me most, beyond the fact that it is weird as hell, is the creepy eye in the center. Reminds me of the Illuminati eye. On a semi-related note, I live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The letters on the post were decoded by the website BlizzHackers, who found the acronym LHOHQ. Additionally, they identified websites that were uncannily similar, discovering decade later in 2017 by Googling the acronym. Because there are at least 200 pages within the domain, many have referred to LHOHQ as a rabbit hole. The pages themselves are unusual and frequently have flashing, colorful graphics, unpleasant visuals, and occasionally eerie sounds. The pages typically lack centralized organization and have a large number of branching links to other LHOHQ pages. It is unknown if any of the domain's pages have been deemed to contain unlawful content. Government conspiracies, mind control techniques like Project MKUltra, and connections to religion or the occult are just a few of the themes of the pages, which can be written in a variety of illogical ways. Numerous bits of personal information on well-known public people are included on some of the sites, including contact details and addresses. Internet users have noted that this data may have been collected unlawfully and is therefore confidential. Others have pointed out that the existence of screenshots from the Public Records Company Intellius may mean that the data is already widely accessible. Due to its pages' abundance of conspiracy, LHOHQ received a lot of attention during the 2006 U.S. election cycle when Pizzagate conspiracy theory went viral. Apparently, the site comes up frequently in discussions about conspiracies at the time, especially in the Reddit and 4chan communities. Now I am finding out that Blame It on Jorge made a popular video on this website, so it's probably not considered obscure. Originally, I was going to title this Obscure Internet Mysteries. Think now, strange websites. But for me, it is obscure. This is the first time I'm hearing about it. His video is definitely better than mine and goes more in depth on this topic than I do. Go watch that. The Pentagon collection on the website found after a bit of navigating is interesting, filled with images of academic papers, court records, and news pieces discussing terrorism and national security, perhaps to prevent search engines from showing the information. Some of these documents make people wonder if they were genuinely intended for public consumption or if Bob, the site's manager, leaked them. This website had the emails of hundreds of people who were connected to the Podesta emails. General consensus is that this information was posted on the internet before the Podesta disclosures. Others who participated noticed posts with really strange concealed data, nonsensical content, and everything from number sets to strange esoteric musings to extremely concerning pornographic content. The website is a never-ending maze of bizarrely programmed web pages, videos, and occult rants. Why do all these people whose names are implicated with the Podesta emails have content information on the original LHOHQ webpage? Did this site have the emails before they were leaked? What exactly is the Laughing Horse Orifice headquarters, and why did it take them so long to build up what we can be sure are several websites with extremely complicated coding and occult references that date back at least a decade? Why is it believed that the first person to discover LHOHQ found a piece of paper pinned to a billboard in Milwaukee with codes needed to be deciphered? What other Pizzagate-related information is concealed on any of the websites? Given that individuals were talking about finding these websites in 2007, it seems far too sophisticated and lengthy to be a disinformation campaign against Pizzagate. This might be a way for a deep state insider to leak information after clicking on several websites. It seems that comprehending LHOHQ, perhaps through minor hints like buried audio, can aid us in understanding the significance of these discoveries and strange websites. It has been hypothesized that LHOHQ website network is a source of releases that has been used to bolster this notion. Others claim that this material was entered before a previous intelligence leak surfaced. Based on this, one may predict that there would be a pattern within the chaos that might be used to develop strategies for locating the leaks. When you visit the website, you will find an assault of images, bright flashing colors, and links to strange videos. It contains the emails of powerful people, including world emails. It is unstated where the website creator got this confidential information, but it is speculated to have been posted by a bot, as much of the information says audio added. Afterwards, digging deeper will lead you to addresses and phone numbers. Most of the website is nonsensical conspiracy information and adult imagery. Perhaps the website is an abstract art piece by someone interested in conspiracy and politics, or is making fun of those who are. Moving on, this website spelled to be the human in reverse, which is said to be obvious, but I find that rude since I did not realize that. This website initially appears to be a collection
of strangely written gibberish. However, once you start exploring the site and comprehend the messages within, it becomes an interesting resource for individuals who are looking for unusual subjects. Pages like these are filled with visuals people may find strange and disturbing. The site is full of numerological and theological meaning. When looking deeper into the site, you will find a page with a magical alphabet that, when accessed, contains several numerical pages with various meanings, some of which are related to Buddhism, Christianity, and other religions and spiritual views. There's a forum dedicated to deciphering the codes and messages. According to the writing of one of the pages, numbers appear to be the primary method of communication. Investigators are able to uncover a few explanations regarding the site and its contents by searching the forum. The tables outline and the numerical calculation
processes that lead to the reduction of a word to a single-digit number. The system is based on the Latin alphabet, where A equals 1 and Z equals 26. Eventually, you develop a level of comfort with the alphabet's numerical values that is comparable to thinking in a foreign language. Key numbers are 5, which is the point of balance between life, 9, which represents strength for both good and evil, and 7, which is frequently significant in religions. In other words, this is beyond me. I am too simple-minded to comprehend. I'll let the smart people decipher the meaning, then share their findings. A user explains that the website is a knowledge collection specifically for people to exchange their understandings. The site was created to encourage learning, which would lead users into alternate optimistic thought paths, inspiring them to join the global mind, a collection of enlightened intellectual resources that, with any luck, will contribute to making the world a better place for beings on all levels. And above all, the great goal is to encourage alternative thought processes among the community that could lead to action plans that would benefit all humanity. Brandon comments, "This site is evil. I've noticed it tilting back and forth one night, having a hypnotic effect. Was the primordial God before Jesus. The Abracadabra symbol was derived from this god Abraxas. Look up the Abracadabra under Google and you will find the same symbol set up. You will see the front page of the Numa website. There's a reason this website is on the dark web. It opens a gateway." I do not know who is correct here, and I also still do not know what is going on. There have been reports of frightening imagery hidden within the dense walls of text, and the majority of the website is devoted to discussing Christianity and various conspiracies. The domain is not a random name for sure. It has some meaning behind it.